What's good, Eagles fans? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. It's Victory Monday, you guys. We were able to come out with the victory over the New York Jets yesterday. And this victory came with a lot more questions than answers. So much to talk about, so much to discuss. Gardner Minshew played a hell of a game. We have to give him credit for that. But before we get into the meaty potatoes, before we get into the nitty gritty of everything, make sure you guys smash that like button, especially if you guys are hopping into the live stream. Just to give some of you guys a heads up, this will be a call-in show. I'm going to be dropping the link later on in the live stream because I need to hear what's on your guys' minds. Once again, if you guys are just coming into the live stream, make sure you smash that like button and also keep in mind and stay tuned because the invite link will be dropped later on in the show. The link to hop into the show, the link to to spill your guts and tell us how you feel about this past Sunday's victory because I need to hear what's on your minds, man. This Gardner Minshew victory is causing more problems than solutions. It's really opened up a can of worms. It's created a premature quarterback controversy. So I'll be super grateful to you guys for locking in on the content. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe as always, especially if you're new to the content. I'll be so grateful for that. But the Philadelphia Eagles managed to defeat the New York Jets 33-18. And it was a pretty exciting game to say the least. When you think about it from the perspective of the Philadelphia Eagles, they found ways to answer. They found ways to answer the New York Jets when the New York Jets came out pretty much swinging. The New York Jets came out, throwing some blows, but it wasn't like the defense really gave them a run for their money. When you think about it from the very beginning, the New York Jets they came out and they returned the kickoff for about 79 yards, and that put them immediately in the red zone, and they managed to score with a touchdown pass from Zach Wilson to Elijah Moore. They took advantage of Steven Nelson right then and there, and then afterwards, the Philadelphia Eagles responded. Gardner Minshew drove down the field. He drove from our own 25 all the way down, and he threw a 36-yard touchdown to Dallas Goedert. And then the New York Jets they responded with a touchdown as well. Then we responded right back with another Dallas Goedert touchdown, and then they responded with a touchdown, and then we responded with a touchdown as well. So we were going tit for tat in that first half, but they missed all three of their extra points, and that hurt them tremendously because the game would have been tied going into the halftime, I believe. Well, actually, no, I lied. They only would have been down by 3 points going into halftime instead of being down by 6 points. But nonetheless, the Philadelphia Eagles came in, took care of business, and that's the most important thing, right? We're still in the playoff hunt. We're still in the race for a playoff spot. Things are getting a little hairy though. The Washington football team right now, they're in control of, I believe, that seventh seed. San Francisco 49ers are in control of that sixth seed. And that's what we're pretty much hoping for. We're hoping for the 7 and 6 seeds to open up for us. It's going to be so important for this team to really try to take advantage of everything that's going on in front of them. Actually, I take that back. Washington is in control of the sixth seed, and the 49ers are in control of the seventh seed, whereas the Eagles are in control of the eighth seed right now. So they're literally on the cusp of being in playoff contention. But that Giants loss is going to come back to bite us. And like they always say, you're only as good as your last 60 minutes of football. And right now, Jalen Hurts' last 60 minutes of football, the last memory we have of Jalen Hurts being on the field, he threw three interceptions. So already people are starting to jump ship on him. People are already people are already beginning to line up for Minshew Mania, and I can see I can see why. When Minshew was playing, he made it look very seamless. He made that offense look very smooth. Granted, it was a different style of offense. You didn't really see too many RPOs. What you saw was your typical pro style offense. You saw him in a shotgun. You saw him lined up on the center. You saw play action. and he was making some pretty good throws. Granted, a lot of his throws, um, a lot of his throws came towards the tight end and the running backs. Didn't really hit his wide receivers as much as he could, but he took advantage of what the defense gave him. And Dallas Goedert was feasting early. You know, Dallas Goedert, he had a career game with 6 receptions on 6 targets, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaged 17 and a half yards a catch. And then he had, like I said, a 36-yard touchdown catch, and he had a 25-yard touchdown catch. 2 big catches where he was extremely physical, extremely dominant. Miles Sanders cracked 100 yards. He had 24 carries, 120 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry. And then Kenny Gainwell added 12 carries on 54 yards, averaging 4.5 yards a carry with a touchdown run that was pretty exciting as well. Devontae Smith wasn't really a factor, but I feel like he just wasn't in the game plan. Had 4 targets, 2 receptions. Wasn't really much of a factor on offense. Quez Watkins came in, did his thing, 3 catches on 3 targets, 60 yards, averaged 20 yards a catch. Had a big third down catch in that second half. Uh, in defense, they were a little shaky. The defense was very abysmal in the first half. They were just letting the New York Jets do whatever they wanted. Special teams was terrible as well. Special teams needs to look in the mirror. This is the worst game of special teams I've ever seen. The longest kickoff we've ever given up this season. Uh, so many things to discuss in this game. Jalen Rager, that man needs a prayer. Fumbled on the punt return, screwed up on the kickoff, putting us on our own 6 yard line. Thank God Gardner Minshew was able to drive that field 94 yards and Kenny Gainwell was able to run it in for the touchdown. But, the biggest story behind this past week, the biggest story behind this week is the Gardner Minshew Jalen Hurts debate. Jalen Hurts, like I said, you're only as good as your last 60 minutes of football. And Jalen Hurts really left a bad taste in the fans' mouths. 3 interceptions, a loss to the New York Giants. Not really a good way to go into the bye, right? And then Gardner Minshew, he comes in and defeats the Jets. The way he did it, he went 20 for 25, 242 yards passing, averaged almost 10 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns with 133.7 quarterback rating. He was damn near flawless. And I think he threw the ball away about 3 times. So you can make an argument he was about 20 for 23 in that game. And then on top of that, there was a point in that game where Gardner Minshew was 12 for 12 for 2 touchdowns. That was the part that was really noticeable to me. The fact that he really wasn't missing guys. He was taking exactly what the defense gave him, and he was hitting guys in stride. He was putting guys in position, and this really complicated things for the Philadelphia Eagles. It complicated things for the fan base. The GOAT Michi, what's going on, my guy? My man been loyal to the soil, always coming in with the hot fire. He says, I ain't gonna lie, I like Minshew, but I did see a few underthrows. Yeah, you did that. One of those touchdowns to Goddard was an underthrow. But we can't ignore. We can't ignore the fact that Dallas Goedert, he did his thing, but we can't ignore the fact that Gardner Minshew, he was hitting guys, for the better part of that game. The second half was pretty quiet. We ran the ball for the most part, just dominating time of possession. In that third quarter, we dominated time of possession tremendously. I believe we accounted for over 11 minutes of, we accounted for about, I think, over 13 minutes of time of possession in that third quarter. And the New York Jets barely touched the ball. I think they only had the ball for about a minute and some change. So overall, Minshew did play a very good game, and he did complicate things when it came to this quarterback situation in Philly because the organization is not tied to anybody right now. Both these quarterbacks are on rookie deals. Minshew is in his third season, whereas though Jalen Hurts is in his proverbial second season. Next year, the Eagles have to make a decision on whether or not they're going to keep Minshew on the roster. I think they will as a backup, depending on what they do at the quarterback position. And then Jalen Hurts, he has 2 more years left on his deal. So this is a very interesting conversation. Jalen Hurts is really vying for the number one spot. Right now, the organization is trying to find out if he's the number one guy. Can he be the franchise guy? That's pretty much what the case study has been all throughout this season. Can Jalen Hurts be the guy? And right now, Gardner Minshew just complicated that experiment. Eagle Slayer, what's going on, my man? He says, "What's going on, Tone? We have a controversy on our hands. Once again, I do have a bad feeling Hurts is going to struggle against the football team." Hey, man, this is going to be really important for Jalen Hurts. Like I said, he left a bad taste in the fans' mouths with that three interception performance against the New York Giants, and it's going to be imperative for him to come back with a vengeance against the Washington football team. And he can't get ahead of himself. He can't try to force things. He has to find a way to take exactly what the defense gives him, and he has to play his brand of football, be himself. Eagle Slayer also says, I will say Minshew played very poised and calm. Yeah, you're right. He did. He played like he'd been there before. And the funny thing is, he hasn't gotten many reps with the first team. And he played like he began reps with those guys all season. Another reason. That was the scary part. He made it look very simple, made it look very easy, made it look very routine. Michi says, yeah, I agree. But Hurts is going to come back with a chip on his shoulder. That would be dangerous, in my opinion. Yeah, it could be dangerous for the other team, or it could be dangerous for us because the last thing we want is Jalen Hurts forcing things like he did against the Giants. We don't need him to come back thinking he needs to throw for over 300 yards and just start slinging a rock here and there, without remorse. He needs to come back and play his brand of football. He needs to come back and play winning football, and that's what's going to help Jalen Hurts get back in favor with his fan base. He just needs to come in and show that he can win football games the way he wins football games. And we're going to get into the details, the nuances of this game in terms of Minshew's poise and the way he was able to read the field because he read that field like he read that field like he'd been there before. Granted, Minshew has legitimate starter experience from his rookie season and his sophomore season in the NFL, but he was kind of competing with Nick Foles that second season, and he ended up beating out Nick Foles again. So you know, Gardner Minshew, he has experience, and he just made it look real smooth. He made it look real smooth, man. He played well though. He made it look real smooth. We can't deny what we saw. Granted, it was the Jets, but it was an exciting game, and now he's forced his fan base. He's forced everyone to really have a conversation. Now, I think we all know Minshew is not the franchise quarterback. I don't think that's what he is. He doesn't necessarily have that distinct arm talent that people look for. Um, I feel like he's a young guy that's still developing as well. Just like Jalen Hurts. We really don't know exactly what Jalen Hurts' ceiling is. We also don't even know what Gardner Minshew's ceiling is, really. Gardner Minshew, third season in the NFL. But for the most part, you know what he is. Um, and then Jalen Hurts is the biggest question mark because we're trying to find out if he's the franchise guy. So Jalen Hurts has to bounce back. He has to. No matter what side of the fence you're on, we need to acknowledge the fact that this has gotten a bit complicated for this front office and for us as fans. You got fans who are crying for Minshew. You got you got fans that are crying for Hurts. You know what I'm saying? And like they always say, you're only as good as your last 60 minutes of football. And Jalen Hurts has a lot to come back from. Jamal Marshall, what's going on, my man? He says, he said, "What's up, Bird Gang? Hoping for playoff spot. That'll be fun." Yeah, the gang is here. Yeah, that's the thing, man. The playoffs are still within reach. We needed Washington to lose yesterday. The Raiders blew that game with their clock management, but nonetheless, it was what it was. I think we actually can make a run for the playoffs if we win out. That's the bottom line. We got to win out. We got to dominate everything going forward. Melvin Gilmore, what's going on, my guy? My man, Laura Brunson, LB. What's going on, my guy? Really appreciate you for locking in on the content, showing love. Super grateful for that, man. It means a lot. It means a lot. LB also says this is the most important game of Hurts' career. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny you say that because I was thinking about that, and that's a topic that I wanted to ask you guys. Do you guys believe this next game against the Washington football team after the bye, do you guys believe this is the most important game of Jalen Hurts' career? Because I believe it is. Outside of that New Orleans Saints game, when we were in control of our destiny, losing to the Giants really screwed things up. So it set us back. But now the Washington football team, this game coming up, and I want to make sure if this game is on the road or not. I think, let me just make sure I'm not tripping. We have the Washington football team at home, so it's a home game. Jalen Hurts, he has to find a way to win this game. This is the biggest game of his career. It's not. It's no question about it. Because the moment, see, here's the sad part about everything. Gardner Minshew opened up the prospects of, if Jalen Hurts has a bad game or if he's not doing so good through that first half, what's stopping the coach staff from saying, "Hey, Minshew, get in"? Because they seen Minshew do what they seen Minshew do what he do. They seen him do it. Granted, it was the Jets, but they seen Minshew go 20 for 25, throw for nearly 250 yards, average almost 10 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns with 133 quarterback rating. He made it look very easy. And then on top of that, with the lack of reps with the first team, he made it look like he'd been there before. So Jalen Hurts, I'm so glad. I'm actually glad Jalen Hurts saw this. I'm actually glad Jalen Hurts was actually on that sideline watching this game. I'm glad he flew with the team and was there supporting everybody. I'm really glad because I think this was a good moment for Jalen Hurts to actually see how things look on the outside looking in, especially his offense. He's always been immersed with the offense. But I think it was really good for him to see actually what this offense can look like if you throw in that rock the way you're supposed to. I think this Minshew game just added another battery into Jalen Hurts' back. But Jalen Hurts still can't come in lackluster. He can't come in pussyfooting. He has to come in and play with reckless and play with intention. He can't be reckless out there. He has to be very intentional with his reads. And that was one of the key things you notice about Gardner Minshew. He was just reading the field comfortably. When things were there, he took it. When it wasn't there, he got rid of it, made a decision quickly. Jalen Hurts' game is predicated on playmaking, and sometimes he may hold on to the ball a little long, thinking he can maybe get guys open with his athleticism, so on and so forth. But this is going to be really this is going to be an interesting final 4 weeks of this season, you guys, because a lot is riding on the line for Jalen Hurts. A lot is riding on the line for this organization, because this organization right now, they have a lot of assets. They're going to have a lot of money to play with in the offseason. And right now, a lot of people believe we're in the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. Some people are campaigning for Gardner Minshew to be the guy. Some people want Jalen Hurts to be the guy. Some people want this organization to be really patient with Jalen Hurts' development. Some people want us to just jump out the window for Russell Wilson, make a move. Most likely Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers won't come here. I think Aaron Rodgers either is going to retire or he's going to stay with the Green Bay Packers. That's just my belief. Or he may go to the AFC because he's still under contract, and I don't see Green Bay allowing that man to come into the NFC, and they have to run through him every time in the playoffs. But Minshew was so sharp. It makes you think about Jalen Hurts' best games, right, as a starter for this Philadelphia Eagles team. One of his, and I'm going to bring up 5 games from Jalen Hurts that stood out to me when it came to how good he can actually be, and also how productive he was. And I don't want to really talk too much about Jalen Hurts' athleticism because we know what Jalen Hurts is capable of when he's dictating the pace through the running game. We know how dynamic, how electric Jalen Hurts is in the running game. You think about that New Orleans Saints game in Week 11, where he put up 3 rushing touchdowns, had that crazy move on the Saints defensive end, made him touch turf. We know how electric, how explosive Jalen Hurts can be in the running game. But the question is, how great of a quarterback can he be? How great of a thrower of the football can he be? What's his ceiling when it comes to throwing the rock from point A to point B? Can he continue to read defenses? Can he make the necessary reads? Can he develop into being a quick decision maker with the football? This is going to be important for Jalen Hurts to bounce back. But again, I want to talk about some games from Jalen Hurts that stood out to me when it comes to passing the ball. Let's go back to Week 1. against the Atlanta Falcons. He went 27 for 35, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns with 126 quarterback rating, no turnovers. That, from a statistical standpoint, was his best game throwing the football. Now you move on to week 4 against the Chiefs, where we lost, but Jalen Hurts went 32 for 48, 387 yards passing, 2 touchdowns with 105 quarterback rating, no turnovers. He was moving the ball. He was able to put points on the board. It's just that the defense couldn't get a stop. He actually played a very good game against the against Andy Reid's Chiefs. Excuse me. That was a point in time when the Chiefs were still trying to figure things out. We missed out on that win. We could have caught the Chiefs slipping, but defense couldn't get a stop. Patrick Mahomes went off and threw 5 touchdowns, and Tyreek Hill did what Tyreek Hill does, added in over 150, damn near, I think about 180 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Completely cooked us without remorse. But Jalen Hurts played a very good game in that Chiefs game. I think he played good enough to win that game against the Chiefs. Then you move on to week 9 against the Chargers, where we began to run the ball significantly more and we were beginning to take pressure off of Jalen Hurts. In week 9, Jalen Hurts only went 11 for 17. He made the necessary throws, made the necessary reads, took exactly what the defense gave him, and he threw for 1 touchdown with 115 quarterback rating. Now, to me, that was one of Jalen Hurts' more decisive, more poised games as a thrower of the football. He looked comfortable with the new way we were running with the new way we were running plays. But then you transition into week 10, where we won, we beat the Broncos, and that by far to me is Jalen Hurts' most pocket aware game. His best game in terms of pocket presence. He went 16 for 23, 178 yards, threw 2 touchdowns, both of them to Devontae Smith on 1 interception with 103 quarterback rating. That Broncos game showed you a lot of what Jalen Hurts can be when it comes to reading the field. Jalen Hurts obviously has to improve with his ball placement. He actually doesn't throw too many he doesn't necessarily throw too many balls that are uncatchable, but it's all about his ball placement. I think that's where Jalen Hurts needs to improve the most. His accuracy with his ball placement. And he needs to improve also with dissecting the defenses, taking what the defense gives them, accepting the check down, reading the defense, and also just going through his progressions. That's the significant difference between Gardner Minshew and Jalen Hurts right now. Gardner Minshew has a lot more experience. It seems like he's able to process just a bit faster, and we can't necessarily ignore that. But Minshew Mania is amongst us, and Jalen Hurts has a lot to clean up because once again, that New York Giants game, that's the last memory we have of Jalen Hurts, and doesn't really bode well for his prospects of being the starting quarterback going forward. But I want to ask you guys, who should the Eagles stick with? Who should the Eagles stick with going forward? Now, they said already that Jalen Hurts is their starter, right? But who would you prefer to be your starter going into, I want to say, week 15? I would say that'd be week 15, right? Because week 13 we beat the Jets, and yeah. So going into week 15, who would you want to be your starter? We have a bye this week. It gives Jalen Hurts plenty of time to get healthy. But who would you guys prefer to be your quarterback going into week 15 against the Washington football team? Because for me personally, despite how good Gardner Minshew played, I would prefer Hurts to be in there because, like I said before, Jalen Hurts is the case study, not Gardner Minshew, and I don't want that to get lost amongst anyone. Jalen Hurts is the primary case study on this season. He was drafted by Harry Roseman in that second round. Also on top of that, Hurts was the guy you chose instead of Carson Wentz. Granted, Carson Wentz wanted to get out of here, but Jalen Hurts was the guy you ultimately had trust in when it came to moving on. You trusted Jalen Hurts enough to move on from Carson Wentz the way you did. So I believe you owe Jalen Hurts the rest of this season to show you if he can actually lead this team on a late playoff push. Because Jalen Hurts has shown you flashes of how good he can be. He's also shown you flashes of how bad he can be. And that's the thing we have to continue to acknowledge, that Jalen Hurts has a lot of growing to do still. But this is arguably his first full season of football. Well, this is his first full season of football. Um, Last season, he only played 4 games. Kind of hard to really evaluate somebody fully based off 4 games. But I feel like those 4 games plus the 16 games he will play going forward if he stays healthy, I feel like 20 games is a nice sample size to find out, okay, how good can this guy be? And then find out if he's earned this, find out if he's earned another season, to show that he can be the guy. Because now what's going to happen is once this season is over, there's going to be a quarterback competition. Best believe Howie Roseman, depending on what he does, if he doesn't go after Russell Wilson, there will be a quarterback competition this offseason. Gardner Minshew will make it interesting. I'm not saying Gardner Minshew should or will be the guy, but Gardner Minshew going into this offseason, he has 1 year left on his deal. He's looking to prove something. Jalen Hurts, same thing, looking to prove something. They have a lot riding on these next 2 seasons. Jalen Hurts has a lot riding on this next game. Jalen Hurts can very well make or break his career in these next 4 games. These next 4 games will be the most important games of Jalen Hurts' young career. After the bye, we had the Washington football team on December 19th. Then we had the New York Giants at home a day after Christmas. Then we travel. To Virginia. Then we travel to DMV to beat. Yeah, you're right. I'm putting energy out there. We're going to beat the Washington football team. Fuck it. We travel to the DMV to face Washington in FedEx Stadium. Then we go back home and face the Dallas Cowboys January 9th. So there's a lot riding on these next 4 games. And Jalen Hurts strikes me as the type of person that thrives under the pressure. He doesn't strike me as a guy to be an emotional guy or a reactive guy. To me he's always appeared to be very poised on this season. So I'm expecting him to be just as poised going forward. But Jalen Hurts has a lot riding on this. He can't afford to screw up. Melvin Gilmore says Hurts is good as a good QB. I think he's growing. Eben Brown says, I agree, LB and Tone. Hurts needs to come back ready for war. Absolutely. He has a lot riding on these next 4 games. Michi says, yes, because that was time he got benched against us. It's going to be important to him. Yeah, this is going to be important. You're right. This is going to be important. I get what you mean. But yeah, I asked you guys, who would you guys rather have going forward for these next 4 games? On this playoff push, knowing what we know about both quarterbacks so far, who would you guys rather have going forward? Shackham says, do you think Gardner Minshew should be starter? I don't. I think Jalen Hurts should still be the starter for the simple fact that he has been he was the case study all season. He was the person you were evaluating all season, and I think he needs to continue to be the person you evaluate. You need to find out just how much he can carry this team. He can't lose. He can't lose the rest of these games. If he loses 1 game, we're out of the playoff. We're out of the playoff picture. We're not in control of our own destiny at that point. We can't afford to lose any more games. If he finds a way to win out, if he finds a way to get this team into the playoffs, then he's earned himself another season to be the guy. He's earned the right to continue to fight for that franchise franchise quarterback label. But I think Hurts should be the guy. No matter how good Minshew looked, it was the New York Jets. They are a football team. They are physical. They get paid just like everybody else. But the Jets have been a national embarrassment for the past several years. And it's hard for me to give too much credence to a victory like that. The same way how people didn't want to give the Eagles too much credit or Jalen Hurts too much credit for that Detroit Lions win. Granted, we ran the ball a lot, but people didn't want to give him credit for winning that game. And because it was the Detroit Lions, right? So the same logic, the same rules should apply when it comes to Gardner Minshew. It was the New York Jets. How much stock can you put into a victory like that? You feel what I'm saying? Granted, he was sharp, but how much stock can you put into a victory against the New York Jets? But at the same time, Jalen Hurts did wet the bed against the New York Giants. So there's so many nuances in this conversation, but I believe Hurts should be the guy for the rest of the season at the very least. Ryan Rowe, what's going on, my man? Eben Brown says, definitely Hurts. Michi says, it's tough for me. Hurts by a small margin. Okay. Eben Brown says, football team will eat Minshew alive if he stays in the pocket for too long. Hurts will keep the football team guessing. Interesting point. See, and I'm gonna keep that up because that is an interesting point because the thing that Jalen Hurts brings to the table, he brings that deceptive nature in his game. You don't necessarily know who's the threat on offense when Minshew or when Hurts is on the field. Hurts does make the offense a bit more dynamic because of his skill set. But Minshew did make the passing game look very seamless. I think Minshew only ran the ball one time. Um, and he was throwing the ball for the rest of the way. But that running game did exactly their thing. Did their thing. But I think Hurts should be the guy going forward. Michi says, "Yeah, but can Hurts buy time by going through his progressions and stay in the pocket, not panicking?" That's another interesting point. There was moments where Minshew got blitzed and he bought time in the pocket. Minshew is not a burner. He's not. He's not your prototypical mobile quarterback, but he's he can move. He can get in that pocket. He can avoid sacks. He can take off if he has to. But that's not what his game is predicated off of. We got to acknowledge the fact that Minshew, he was reading that field. He was reading the defense, and he handled the blitz very well. Handled the blitz tremendously, and we have to give him credit for that. Jalen Hurts has a lot of room to make up. Has a lot of ground to make up. Ryan Rose says Jalen Hurts has to be the starter to make sure he's able to get a good quarterback if he can stay healthy enough without any injuries. The problem for our quarterback chemistry. Okay, I think I get what you're trying to say. Colton B says Hurts. Colton, what's going on, my man? He says Hurts 100%. Eddie Holmes says Jets worst team in the league. Jalen beat the number one defense, 3 and number 9 defense this year. I give it, yeah. Hurts has some high quality victories, right? Hurts has a high quality victory against the number 1 rushing defense and the New Orleans Saints. He put up 3 touchdowns on them. He also has a high quality victory in that Broncos defense as well. We were this close to beating the Chargers, but he has some high quality victories on his belt. So if we're gonna hold Minshew to the same standard as Jalen Hurts, we can't give him too much grace when it comes to this victory against the New York Jets. The Jets, they've been piss poor for a long time. You guys, I'm going to drop the link to have a conversation with you guys. This is going to be a call-in show for a little bit. I'm going to allow you guys to come on, to speak your piece for a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? I would love to hear your thoughts on this Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew, quote-unquote quarterback controversy. I'm going to be dropping that link. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to drop that link. Even Brown says Hurts will panic, especially if he watched what Minshew was doing. Yeah. You say you don't think Hurts will panic. Got you, even. Got you. Yeah, I don't think Hurts is panicking by any stretch of the imagination. I just think Hurts understands the situation. I think Hurts just understands the situation. Hurts understands that, okay, all right, I see what's going on. Time for me to step my weight up. Shackham says, who you got winning today, Bills or Pats? I think I think the Patriots going to win. I'm not going to lie to you, man. The Patriots just look too good. The Patriots look too good right now. I'm dropping this call-in link, y'all. I really want to hear your thoughts on this, man, because this is a hell of a situation we got in Philadelphia right now. It's a hell of a situation we got right now. Because I believe Jalen Hurts, he has a lot of ground to make up. Some people may disagree, but I believe Jalen Hurts can't afford to screw up. This next stretch of games is going to be the biggest stretch of his career. These next 4 games will define him. They're going to define him. We also can't ignore the fact that Gardner Minshew was able to find Dallas Goedert. He was able to get Dallas. He was able to get Dallas Goedert going early. We got the screen game going early. I want to know why we don't get the screen game going the same, with Jalen Hurts the same way we did with Gardner Minshew. Obviously, the coaching staff wanted to do things to keep Gardner Minshew, reeled in. They wanted to keep him comfortable. Most of his throws, we have to acknowledge this about Gardner Minshew. Most of his throws came in. I want to say against the tight end, came in throwing to the tight ends, and also most of his throws came into the running backs. We can't afford to get too high on Gardner Minshew's numbers. I know he went 20 for 25, but we can't afford to get too high on it, y'all. We really can't. So we got some people back here. Shout out to you guys for locking in on the content. Really appreciate you guys. We got 9 people locked in on the live stream. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Really, really, really grateful to you guys, my man. Really grateful. So the first person I'm bringing on, Eddie Holmes.
Like in the live stream, make sure you guys smash that like button. Really, really, really grateful to you guys, my man. Really grateful.
Eddie Holmes, what's going on, my man? How you feeling?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, real quick, if you can you turn down your background?
Yeah,
I
hang
can
on
hear,
a second. I got
yeah, I can hear my echo, big dog. Perfect. So, we got a lot to discuss. This past victory against the New York Jets did not come without its casualties. What are your thoughts on the quarterback situation with Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew? Because Gardner Minshew, no matter if we want to admit it or not, he has made it a bit interesting. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think he made a little bit interesting. I just think that really, I can't hear you no more.
Oh no, you good. You good. I was letting you talk. You good.
Okay. uh, I think he made it kind of interesting because he made passes. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to throw the ball a little bit. But I think really, like you said, he only threw the ball to the backs and a couple to the tight end. And it showed when he tried to get the ball down the field, it fluttered. So his arm not as strong as Hurts.
Yeah. I think I would agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts' arm is a little stronger. I think where Minshew has him beat is maybe the ball placement. Maybe with the accuracy a little bit. Um, but like we said, he spent he gave out of his 25 attempts or out of his 20 completions, uh, six went to Dallas Goedert, 5 went to Gainwell, so that's 11 targets right there, and then 3 went to Sanders, 14. So 14 of his 20 completions went to the tight ends and the running backs. How much can you really evaluate a guy like that? You know what I'm saying? How far can he really take you? Dinking and dunking.
I, I, I definitely agree with that.
So, what's your thoughts on do you think Jalen Hurts has a lot on his plate right now? Do you think Jalen Hurts do you think
I
Jalen Hurts
think
can bounce
he
back?
I think he has a lot on his plate because people haven't really give Jalen a chance. You know what I mean? His leash hasn't been strong. I mean, that long since he's been in the league. Everybody been wanting to pull him since he's been in the league and not
Right.
really wanted to give him a chance. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like ever since he got benched for Tua back in at Alabama, everybody has held him against that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has held him against that, and it seems like everybody else get like a leash. You know what I mean? How about all these guys? How about you look down and what Trevor Lawrence? How many interceptions he's had? And you know what? These pundits always make excuses for him. You know what I
Of
mean? They
course.
got reasons why he
Well, of
made
course,
an
he's the number one.
interception.
He's the number one overall pick. What else you expect, right? He got the pretty blue eyes, the long hair. He's the media sweetheart, right? So they're always going to give grace to the first overall pick. You know what I mean? But to your point, right? I think it's so funny how people find a way to nitpick Jalen Hurts' game when he is a developing product. I was watching an interview with Doug Peterson. And he said this kid is basically a rookie. He got literally no reps when I was there. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't anticipate on him playing it anyway. And he had to come in and he did his job. He requires some nurturing. He requires
Hmm.
some some development. And it all begs the question: how patient will this organization be? Because
It,
go ahead.
exactly, and not just that, man. You got all these people who still miss Carson and want Carson to be here. You know what I'm saying? So they have always they didn't want to give him a chance, period, because they still regret Carson being gone. You know what I mean? So they haven't wanted to give him a chance anyway.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's the funny thing about this whole situation too. Like it seemed like we can't avoid a quarterback controversy to save our lives. Like and this is going to be such an important moment for this organization because they have an opportunity to exercise stability. And stability is how you attract free agents.
Right.
Stability is how you keep everything in front of you. I'm really glad that Nick Sirianni made it very clear that Jalen Hurts is a starter for sure. He's our starter. I'm glad he drew that line in the sand very early, even right after the game in the press conference. But
Mhm.
if let me ask you this: if we go into that Washington game and Jalen Hurts is struggling in that first half, he has a turnover in that first half. What do what's your thought process? What do you think they're going to do?
I,
Well, let me
I
ask you this:
think
what do you think they should do? And also tell me what do you think they're going to do?
for me, this year wasn't supposed to be them being in the playoffs anyways. You know what I mean? This is supposed to be uh, Jalen Hurts developing. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And seeing what you got in him. So me, I would leave him in there. You know what I mean? But I see that the leash is not going to be long for him because everybody can smell blood in the water. They've been smelling blood in the water anyway. They just been waiting for Jalen to mess up so they can put Minshew in there. So a lot of the pundits. I see the guy. What's his name? John, whatever his name is. He always has something bad to say about Jalen. Always. You know what I mean? It's just funny to me that they've been waiting on him to mess up. And when he had those interceptions with the Giants, it was done for him, man. They were going to find a way for him not to play in this game. You know what I mean? Because they wanted to see what Minshew had. Everybody had been wanting to see that since they got him Minshew back in the summertime.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the other subscribers brought up a good point on Ding Burrito. He says the argument is an argument of consistency. How often can he do the good things? And that goes for both guys, right? Jalen Hurts has shown us many flashes of how good he can be. He's also showed us flashes of how bad he can be.
Right.
Same thing with Gardner Minshew. He showed us flashes of how good he can be, but throughout his career, he's shown us flashes of how bad he can be as well. Both
Hmm.
these guys are on rookie deals. Minshew was in his Minshew currently is in his third season,
Yeah.
and Hurts is in his second season. So they're going to have to make a decision on Gardner Minshew, I believe, next season, and they're going to have to eventually make a decision on Jalen Hurts. Let me ask you this question though. Let me shift gears a little bit. What's your thoughts on the quarterback situation as it pertains to going out to get a veteran like a Russell Wilson? Do you believe this is something the organization should do?
Uh, really, I don't think so, man. For the simple fact that what you gonna give up to get them? You know what I mean? What are they gonna give up to get
Good point.
these guys to come to Philly? You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, I see Jalen's weakness is him reading defense, and once he learns how to read defense, he's gonna be a lot better. You know what I mean? And that's not something that he had to do because he's always had that I can run and get a first down. You know what I mean? He ain't had to learn how to read defenses and things like that. But that's one thing that he has to learn is how to sit in that pocket and read defenses. When you come up the line, know exactly where you're going to go with the ball. And once he learns all that stuff, that's just going to add to his game. But I don't know how long that people are going to wait for him to learn it.
And that's the key point. Jalen Hurts, yes, he's a very dynamic talent if you can actually get the right people around to support him and really invest in his skill set. Um, you know, as fun as it was to watch Gardner Minshew, we have to acknowledge the fact that he's streaky. He's a very streaky guy, and I think to your point, the one thing he does have over Jalen Hurts is reading defenses, but that comes with experience. And also Gardner Minshew, he doesn't necessarily stare down or telegraph his throws. Shout out to Ding Burrito for bringing that point up. Hurts needs to do a lot better with looking off the safety.
Yeah.
Regardless, the bottom line is that I think that we can mutually agree on is that Jalen Hurts does have a lot of developing to do, but I think he's earned the right to play the rest of the season out, no matter how it goes.
Hmm.
But I think we also need to keep our eyes and ears open for a potential quarterback competition, depending on how this season ends up. Because
Right.
if Jalen Hurts can find a way to get us into the playoffs, then I think he's earned the starting spot going into next season. But if we sort of fall off a cliff, maybe we don't really win out the way we should, then the conversation becomes, okay, who's going to be the starter, starting next season? And that's when the
Hmm.
quarterback competition comes in. What's your thoughts on a quarterback competition if things don't really go well for us in the playoffs?
I think that what as far as quarterback competition, I think competition is always good. You know what I mean? I don't think that he'll run from it. You know what I'm saying? I believe that he will stay for it and he'll fight for the job. And that's just his makeup. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that he'll run from it. But I don't disagree with having a competition at all. But who are you gonna have him compete with? Minshew? You know what I mean? Because how far, like you said, Minshew is streaky. How far is streaky gonna get you? With streaky, we got you past the Saints. You know what I mean? Would
Right.
Minshew have got you past Denver? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to think about. But yeah, it's nothing wrong with having that competition. But man, I'm way in AZ, man. I like to, see a young brother doing this thing, man. I just want to give you your props, man. You doing it.
Hey, listen, Eddie, I truly appreciate the love, man. I appreciate you always liking on the content. You're always liking everything. You're always commenting, bro. You stay engaged with the content, my man. And this kind of stuff really makes my day, man. This makes this content creation so much easier because I really lean on you guys. I really consider you guys to be some of the smartest sports fans, football fans I've ever had the pleasure of communicating with. You guys always challenge me. You guys always add new thoughts. You guys add to the show. You guys are a part of the show. So Eddie, my brother, super grateful to you for being on the show, my man. You take care, all right?
Hey, for sure. One love, man. Keep it up, man. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Can't stop, won't stop. All right. Next on the show, I'm going to bring up my man Michi, the GOAT Michi. Now, Eddie brought up a lot of good points. Are they going to be patient with him? Right? That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is how patient will they be? And on top of that, how far can Minshew take you? He throws the ball, a certain point, and it starts to wobble. We have to think about that. There's so many questions, not enough answers, throughout this whole situation. Things have gotten a lot more interesting, but I think me and Eddie came to the agreement came to the conclusion that Jalen Hurts should be the guy going forward. How far will Streaky get you? You'll never know. But I'm going to bring up my man to go meet you into the show. Michi, what's going on, my man? You locked in to Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got charges to the game, my guy. How you feeling?
Man, doing good, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm grateful to you for coming on to the content, bro. Always locking in, always staying engaged. You definitely add to the show. You are a part of the show, my man. So, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on this whole quote unquote quarterback controversy between Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew? Because, like we talked about, it's a very interesting situation to be in. Because, granted, Jalen Hurts has given us a lot of quality victories this season, and then but he hasn't had the sharpest of games sometimes because he gives you a combination of the running and the passing. But Minshew, he came in, went 20 for 25. There was a point in this game where he was 12 for 12, 2 touchdowns. So, what's your thoughts on this whole quarterback situation between Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew?
Like to be honest, like can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine, brother. You good?
Okay. So to be honest with you, I mean, like as a fan, I mean I like both guys, but to be honest with you, I mean it would don't matter to me, man. It would don't matter because I mean like whoever start, like I will support. I mean no matter what. It is what it is. But I mean, in my honest opinion, I say Hurts. Hurts by like a small margin. Hurts by a small margin. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I remember you saying that actually in the live stream because Yeah. Zach words were Hurts by a small margin, and
Mhm.
I can respect that for the simple fact that you know, like I said before, you're only as good as your last 60 minutes of football. The way the NFL is, the NFL is known as not just the National Football League, but it's also known as not for long. So
Yeah.
just as quickly as you're, riding high, you can
Mhm.
easily crash and burn. And
Yeah.
the last thing we remember from Jalen Hurts is throwing 3 interceptions against the New York Giants.
And then add to that, like he had some good stretch of games. I give his part. He have a good stretch of games, but that Giants game, like it kind of
It
it
was
kind
rough.
of huh?
It was rough. It really made you scratch your head about him.
Yeah, it was what, but I give him the benefit of the doubt because I mean, like he is a young quarterback. So and then and then also I think about it like this: every quarterback who come in from the draft ain't gonna be like the best passer in the world. Like, so I understand that because like you got your Justin Herberts and like your Patrick Mahomes and your Deshaun Watsons. So every quarterback ain't gonna be good off rip.
No, that's a good. That's a very good point, and I think that's what always goes back to, right? How patient would the organization be? Because you know, let's be honest, this new NFL, they're not giving young quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, the
Yeah.
full time to really develop. It seems like you have to come in and you have to show exactly how good you can be early on.
Yeah,
And then
and
and not many quarterbacks are capable of doing that. There's always outliers. You think about guys like Justin Herbert who came in, like you guys know how good he was. I believe he won Rookie of the Year. You think
yeah,
about Josh Allen, who was rough the first year, but he was steadily improving every single year. But that was because that organization invested a first round pick in him, so they had to be patient, and he improved every single year.
yeah, and
So it's really a lot to think about.
and uh, and also about this, like the way I see Jalen Hurts is like I would treat him like if I was an owner or like the head coach, like I would treat him basically as like a young Russell Wilson, like him like make him make him like a game manager, the game manager, basically run the ball, play good defense, and hit plays, and hit pass plays, and then bring them on like that. Like that's how
That's
I mean
that's
like
that's
I would
interesting.
develop, but like but you know how like how things is nowadays that that young quarterbacks are basically on a short leash, like Josh Rosen, for example. I mean, it was terrible for him.
Yeah.
It, and and then now you go into a situation like look at the Brown situation. Like I mean, it been crazy there. And now with this situation, it seems that the fan base is split. It's going crazy. Like you got Team Hurts, you got Minshew Mania, and in my honesty, I'm not. I mean, I like both guys, but I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm an
I
Eagles
get what
fan.
you're saying. I get what you're saying exactly, and that's why I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like sometimes people get too lost they get too lost in the sauce. They get too caught up on what have you done for me lately, right? And they need to ask themselves:
Yeah,
are you a Philadelphia Eagles fan first, or are you are you a players guy? But look, let's be honest. This
hey,
this isn't the NBA. It's not the NBA. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's not as easy to root for one guy. You got to really root for your squad. Football is much more tribal than the NBA, right? So
yeah,
it's like you gotta rock with your team, with your organization, and you gotta always rock with what's best for your team, and whoever's back to throwing the ball, you gotta hope for the best at the end of the day.
and then to add to that, like from my point, because I played football and I know, and I basically know the ins and out of the game. So, so with that being said, that I mean, with Gardner Minshew, like he brings in, okay, he can pass the ball, and with Hurts, it's like, I mean, like he show you flashes, but then he show you the bad. But at the same time, like I said, I give him the benefit of the doubt because he have moments where he showed that okay, like this guy can be the franchise guy, but then he show things that he say like, huh, like I mean, like what the hell you doing? I mean, like where you throwing to? I mean, why you forcing the
Right,
ball like that?
right.
And for me, I keep it real. No, I keep it real, and like I see it for how I see it. with Jalen Hurts, the injuries, the injury, the ankle injury, that kind of concern me because that made me think to me that okay, so with him basically running around a lot, that kind of gonna maybe be judging a little bit more because at times I want him to sit in the pocket. At times I want him to sit in the pocket, not panic, go to progression, and read the defense and not panic. Know what I'm
Agreed.
saying? And then at times he showed that he could do it, but sometimes, like he said, screw it, Elijah for one and pick up the first down, which I don't mind it, but when he does that at times, it do be wide open guys. Like I be seeing it. It do be wide
Yep,
open guys.
we've all seen it, and the interesting thing is, Dank Burrito brought up a good point. He said Jalen's been taking a lot of hits lately, and this goes
Yeah,
back to
exactly.
the point about goes back to your point about his injury and the sore ankle. My thing is, when you think about Jalen Hurts' skill set, right? The goal is for him
Yeah,
to learn how to use his athleticism to get out of trouble, rather than him depending on
yeah,
his athleticism to get him out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs to grow to that. He needs to grow into that
yeah,
dual threat quarterback where he is a pocket quarterback, but he's so athletic you can't sack him. Like just how you brought up with Russell Wilson. Russell
yeah,
Wilson was a mobile quarterback early on in his career, but he developed
yeah,
and was able to convert his mobility into more so an asset and not a crutch. You know what I'm saying? He put himself
yeah,
in a position to develop as a passer. Granted, he had the right people around him helping him develop. He had the organization's full support, but he also came into a situation where he had a number one defense. He had a legit running game. He
Marshall.
he had the yeah, exactly. He had the perfect situation to really develop in. And I feel like this
And
situation is kind of similar because our running game is legit. Maybe not Marshawn Lynch legit, but we're putting up the numbers to show that we have a dominant running game. Jalen Hurts does add to that. But
yeah,
at the same time, also our defense, they're starting to come along. Run defense has been legit, for the past handful of weeks. We struggled earlier on, but teams
yeah,
can't really run on us now.
yeah,
We're forcing teams to have to throw the ball. Um, the bottom line is, how patient are they going to be with this young man? And then Jalen Hurts has to find a way to develop as a passer because running the ball all the time will not be sustainable. And I actually believe what we're seeing from Lamar Jackson is the cumulative factor of taking all those hits. If you see how Lamar Jackson been playing lately, it seems like I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't have the same gas, the same fire as he did early on in his career or even earlier on in the season. He's been having to carry a lot because the running game been non-existent. But Lamar Jackson, how much more of a beating can he take, right? How much more of a beating can these mobile quarterbacks take that depend on their legs to get things done? You have to be able to drop back in that pocket and deliver that rock from point A to point B.
and then answer that, like the way I look at that injury for Jalen Hurts is like I be saying to myself, okay, with Hurts, I don't want him to end up like RG3. Basically, it's our RG3 situation. I'm sorry to say it, but the way he going, he might gonna end up being RG3. Because him running around, that ain't gonna work because he can be taking some hits. And with that, he would have to be developed into a pocket passer. And because you heard rumors that Jeffrey Lord knows that he's all in on Hurts, but how it's not. That
Right.
gonna be
What's your
another
thought?
thing.
What's your thoughts on that? Because that's a very interesting situation as well. The owner and the GM being split on them, even though we all know the owner's decision trumps GM's. But overall
Yep.
though, that's a very interesting situation for the simple fact that typically Howie and Jeffrey are on the same accord. But granted, it's reports. We haven't heard it from them directly. But it's something to
But
think
yes,
about.
but with that, if those rumors are true, in the offseason, Jerry Lurie, like he had to decide between, okay, should I keep Howie or Hurts? That gonna be that gonna
Mm.
be that gonna be one of the toughest things Jerry Lurie had to do because if you think about it this way, you hear reports about Russell Wilson or the Deshaun Watson, the Aaron Rodgers,
Mhm.
they come to Philly, all that stuff. The question is, if you're trying to get Russell Wilson, how he might give up like some first round picks and might give up Hurts. But thing is, what's going to happen in the future?
Right.
And it's what's going to happen in the
Like what?
future. Not about
Absolutely.
1, 2 years happen in the future. Because in the future, if you don't got all no picks, you basically screwed. And like these
You're
could
not
go down
wrong.
well. I mean, these could go down. So with that being said, because I look back at Doug Peterson's interview, and he points something out that I like. That okay, Hurts is based on a young QB who needs time to develop. And what's going on with the Seahawks is quite frankly that Seahawks might trade Russ and Pete Carroll might be fired. In my head, I'm thinking that Doug Peterson might be the head coach at Seattle, and he probably gonna bring on Jalen Hurts with him. Keep that in mind too.
That would be crazy to think about. That would be wild if he ends up taking a Seattle job and then we end up trading, I don't know, a first round pick in Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson. That would be, that would be the craziest situation, and that would be wild.
And then with that, with Hurts being on Seattle, like he would have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Alex Collins, all of them, and then also Doug Peterson coming into place for him. And then with us, we just have us and basically just one first round pick. Which
I think
would be
I feel
not enough.
I feel you. Right.
So basically for me, if I'm the front office, I would give Hurts okay, I'm sorry to say it, but I would give Hurts 1 more year. To prove that to prove to me that he's the guy. I'm not off the ship with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, to at least prove that he's worth a longer leash, right? At least let him come in and prove that he's worth the commitment.
Yeah, and and then also because I know that Jalen Hurts got limitations, but you could fix those. And to me, the way Gardner Minshew play, Gardner Minshew confidence is way up now. It's way up.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
It's a swag about him, like everybody been saying in this live streaming. There's a swag about him. He throws with confidence, as you can see below. Dan Burrito says Gardner has confidence and lets it go. He knows his arm and trusts his throw, and that's the thing. I think where Jalen Hurts needs to begin to get to. He needs to get to a point where he knows his capabilities. He knows his limitations. He knows what throws that he can make. He because because think about this, right? Tom Brady. And I hate comparing people to the GOAT, but Tom Brady doesn't have the strongest arm by any stretch of the imagination. He doesn't have a strong arm at all. But what separates him is how he throws the ball. His anticipation on his throws. He throws his ball. He throws the ball in a way where he knows that it compensates for his lack of arm strength. And also Tom Brady's not afraid of dinking and dunking. He's not afraid of throwing underneath to the check down. Jalen Hurts just needs to take exactly what the defense gives him, in all honesty. But do you have any final thoughts before I get you out here, my man?
So for the last 4 games,
I
had this to say for the last 4 games. If Hurts, all right. So this next game against Washington, if Hurts struggles between between the first half and beginning the second half, that could be the problem. That's gonna be a problem. And
you're right.
And then also I have been looking at the draft. The QBs in the draft, I'm not even sold on. Like I really know
exactly same here.
Because I really know. To be honest with you, I really don't watch college football. To be honest with you, so I can't tell you. I can't tell you like who on the team. I can't tell you, but I do. I don't look at offense much, but I do look at defense a lot because I play defense, all that stuff. So like it is what it is. But back to the point. If Hurts struggling that first half against Washington, it will be crazy because at the end of the first half, it'll be Minshew going all crazy again.
And it's a home game, so Philly. Listen. Philly. We ain't shy, bro. You already know how it get down. Like as soon as he throw an interception, it's going. You're gonna hear that crowd going Minshew. Like it's gonna get rough.
Like, it could be like,
It will get rough, my
I
man.
mean,
But
but
look,
I mean, but
go ahead.
yeah, but I mean, but at the same time, that I know that Jalen Hurts had adversity, so I know that he's gonna like play with a chip on his shoulder, and he could be motivated. Um, but the thing is, um, can he win the big game long term? I mean, like, can he get in the playoffs, but can he win that playoff game? It's all
Right,
honesty,
right.
because
Now here's
this
that's a good
team is
question.
this team is winning. Yeah, because like this team is winning while rebuild, which is something that I never heard of. Because because going to this season, we don't know what to expect. But to see this team winning while rebuild in less than a year, that is a really good accomplishment. It really is.
It is.
Because no other team, I mean, sorry Giants, but the Giants are trash. But the Giants can do that. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean,
The Giants
can
are
do that,
bad.
but
Giants
we're
are very
doing it.
bad.
Yeah. So,
You're absolutely right, my man. The
but
fact that we're actually being competitive in this rebuild, we lead the league in rushing in a rebuild. That's unheard of, like you said. And on top of that, we're going to be nearly 50 million under the cap. We're going to have 3 first-round picks. The world is our oyster, my man. We just have to be calculated and make good decisions.
yeah, most definitely. And so with that, so with that being said, like fly Eagles fly, and talk to you later, Tony.
You already know.
My
Hey,
love,
listen, you
family.
already know, Michi. I appreciate you for coming onto the content, my brother. I appreciate you for always supporting me, my man. Like I always tell you guys, I really believe you guys are some of the smartest football fans I've ever had the opportunity of talking to, communicating with. You guys are the show. You guys make the show. Without you guys, the show would not be possible, my man. So, Michi, thank you so much, my guy. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your night, my guy.
I mean, you too, my guy.
Great conversation. You know, Michi brought up a lot of good points. You know, at the end of the day, you know, Hurts has to he's going to come in with a he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder, and he can't afford to slip. The Eagles control their own destiny at this point. If they find a way to win out all these 4 games, if they can defeat the Washington football team twice, they can lock up that 7th seed. You know, if the San Francisco 49ers lose some more games, you know, it makes it that much more easier. So the Eagles have to just continue to win out their games. They have to continue to be competitive. And at the end of the day, you know, we're not really sure how patient this organization will be with Jalen Hurts. We don't know. So we're going to find out. You know, it's a bye week, so we got a lot of time to think. But Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew, the story, the season just keeps on getting more and more interesting, you guys. But I'm going to get out of here. I really appreciate everybody that contributed to the show. I appreciate all you guys that locked in on the show. You guys are always awesome. You know, shout out to Philly. You know, shout out to Dank Burrito. Eagle has landed. Shout out to my guys. Shout out to my guys Ryan Rowe. Shout out to Beat Blade God. Shout out to Eddie Holmes for coming on to the show, contributing, calling in. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the GOAT Michi for calling in, contributing to the show. Shout out to Rock the Artist. Shout out to Shackham. Shout out to Lord Brunson, you know, the GOAT. Appreciate him for coming in, liking on the content as well. You know, he been supporting me for a while, so I really appreciate him for coming in. Shout out to my guy Eagle Slayer as well. You know, the GOAT Michi, Eben Brown. Just so grateful to you guys, man. You guys really make this content fun. You guys are truly members of the show. You guys are like family to me, right? You know, you guys hold me accountable. You guys are just some of the dopest Eagles fans, some of the dopest football fans that I had the pleasure of talking to. You guys are extremely intelligent, and I try my hardest not to let it go unnoticed. So, you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys were locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. And fly Eagles fly.